I should warn you before I even begin that this is not the kind of story you can simply walk away from, because the very act of listening might be enough to draw you in, and if you've ever wandered too far down a late-night Reddit rabbit hole where anonymous users confess things they should never say out loud, then you'll know the kind of place where I first heard about it, hidden in a comment thread about red rooms and dark web horror, a throwaway account with zero karma posting just one cryptic sentence. Don't ever click the bowl. Once you see it, you can't escape the blank soup room. And at first it seemed laughable, almost absurd, because compared to all the gore stories, the term blank soup room sounded like the punchline of a bad joke. But the strange thing was how often it kept coming back, mentioned in different posts, different boards, always short-lived before being deleted or buried, as if someone didn't want the knowledge spreading too far. And the more I read, the more curious I became, because survivors, or at least people claiming to be survivors, described it not as physical torture but something far worse. A room that stripped your identity away sip by sip, a chair in the middle of a gray concrete chamber, a stainless steel bowl on the floor filled with liquid that wasn't quite water, wasn't quite broth, but something so empty it was given the name blank soup, and the ritual was simple. Sit, drink, let the audience watch, but the effect was permanent because survivors said the soup ate memories like acid eats metal, leaving holes where your childhood should be, filling those holes with impossible recollections of other lives, strangers' faces, places you'd never been, like a virus rewriting your mind until you no longer knew which fragments belonged to you. And one poster said he could no longer recognize his own reflection because every time he looked in a mirror, it showed him sitting in that same concrete room, bowl waiting, while an invisible crowd whispered from the dark corners of his vision. And another wrote that his wife swore he'd been acting like a different man since the night he drank, telling stories of events that never happened, remembering people who never existed, until eventually she left him, and his post ended abruptly with the words, "The soup wants more." And then his account was deleted, but the strangest part was that every time one of these posts vanished, another appeared within days under a different username, always replaced eventually by a single bowl emoji as if stamped by something watching, something controlling, and I told myself it was just a meme, some creepypasta evolving in real time. But then one night my own curiosity pushed me too far and I started digging, following onion links, decoding riddles hidden in archive threads, until I found a page so slow loading it felt like the internet itself didn't want me to see it. A plain gray screen with nothing on it except a pulsing bowl icon. And though every instinct screamed to stop, I clicked, and my VPN began overheating instantly, the fans of my laptop roaring like engines. But the page resolved into a chat room filled with usernames that didn't look like names at all, just corrupted strings of letters and numbers, each message repeating the same words in unison. Feed, 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 and then the video feed snapped on, grainy, flickering, showing the room itself exactly as described, concrete walls, overhead bulbs swaying as if from a hidden breath, chair bolted to the floor, and a man bound to it, shaking, his eyes darting until they fixed on the camera with such intensity that my own lungs froze, because I swear he looked straight at me, not at the lens, but into my own space, mouthing words silently. "Don't drink it," over and over, his lips raw and desperate, but before I could process it, a distorted voice broke through unseen speakers, metallic, commanding, "Drink," and the chat erupted, the Bitcoin counter on the corner of the screen climbing so fast it blurred, hundreds of viewers paying just to watch him lift the bowl, and when he did, when that colorless soup touched his lips, his body seized violently as though electrocuted, then stilled, his eyes rolling back before snapping forward again, but something was wrong. They weren't his eyes anymore, they were ancient, infinite, filled with recognition, and he began to whisper names, first random, then familiar, then horrifyingly specific, listing addresses, secrets, things no stranger could know, and then he said my name, not my screen name, not a username, but my real name, syllable by syllable, and then my childhood address, details I had never typed anywhere, and the chat exploded in all caps. Linked, he's IN, and in that second the stream cut to black, replaced by glowing text. "Next bowl is yours," and I slammed my laptop shut, trembling, heart racing, telling myself it was prank, an ARG, some elaborate psychological trick. But then my phone buzzed on the table even though it was turned off, SIM card removed, and the screen lit up with a single notification. A bowl emoji. And since that night nothing in my world has been the same. Food tastes metallic and cold, as if every bite is just more blank soup, Mirrors no longer reflect just me but faint shadows of that concrete chamber lingering behind my shoulder. And in the silence of night, I hear bowls clinking in the kitchen. Though no one else lives here, sometimes catching glimpses of reflections in my computer screen even when it's powered down. And the worst part is the memories. I can't trust them anymore, because I keep remembering faces of people I never met, entire childhoods that aren't mine, holidays in countries I've never visited, tragedies that belong to strangers, as if the soup is bleeding other lives into me, and the more I try to resist, the stronger it gets, pulling me toward that inevitable moment, when I'll be sitting in that chair, bowl before me, while 1,000 faceless viewers chant feed, 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 and maybe by telling you this I've already doomed you too, because if you've listened this far then the blank soup room already knows your name, and maybe it's already preparing your bowl as you watch, so take my advice. Don't ever search for the bowl, don't click the emoji, don't let curiosity drag you deeper, but if you can't resist, if you've already been marked, then all you can do is like this video, subscribe, and pray that when the soup comes for you, you'll still remember who you were before the first sip.